All right, welcome back. So we are doing another training today, and this training is on our methodology R.E.D.g. And I really want to make sure that you guys are supported as much as humanly possible here to understand like what is necessary, what is required to actually be the best, to become the top 1% in your industry. And I feel like knowledge is power, knowledge is sexy. Once you understand sales in a way that makes sense and you understand how humans think, how they make decisions, how they process things, like emotions that are going through the body. And once you understand that, it makes a sale so much more simple because you're dealing with just psychology. It's not about you selling the best feature, the best thing. It's not about you saying the right thing perfectly and somebody then likes you enough to buy from you. It's not about that. It's about you understanding how to create safety in the body. And I believe that most salespeople stay surface level and they trigger a lot of fight or flight reactions in their prospects within the first few seconds. If you want to become the best, you must master a simple step-by-step process that fosters emotional safety within the body. So I'm going to go over a few different things for you today. Most importantly, I want to make sure you clear your calendars for the 28th of this month, Saturday morning from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We are going to be doing a workshop live. We are going to be doing it in Miami if you want to come in person. We also are having this virtual, but you want to take the time because you're smart and because you want to become the best. You want to take the time to work on your skill, to work on your craft. And so find a way to be there. You can comment workshop below on one of these, as well as I think the links in all of my bios will bring you straight to the workshop. So definitely make sure that you register so that you can get all access. And if you come in person, there's only a limited number of seats. So if you want to come, I can't wait to see you and meet you. Now, inside of a sales process, there's a few things that I want to go over today. So I want to make sure you have a pen, piece of paper, you're writing notes. Behavioral science shows us that it's 5 more times more persuasive. Let me rephrase that. It's 5 times more persuasive when somebody tells themselves as to why they need to take action versus you trying to talk somebody into it. It's 5 times more persuasive. Now, if you have a teenager like me, or if you're in a relationship at all, and you're telling somebody to do something and you're noticing that they're having resistance to doing that, it's probably because of how you're asking it. I believe that the number one issue that people have in this world is a lack of good communication. Wars are started over it. Divorces happen from it. Kids feel not loved because of it. It's all a lack of communication. And people hear tonality before they hear the words that you speak. And so if you can get really good at this skill set, it will literally change your life. It's 5 times more persuasive to get somebody to persuade themselves versus you telling them what to do. If you tell somebody what to do, and especially if your tone sounds really off, you're going to cause a lot of resistance. It's going to be 10 times harder for you to sell. And I want you to pay attention and listen very closely as I tell you this, because I've literally purchased every single sales book that I could possibly get my hands on, every single sales course. I've gone through so much. I literally have neuropsychology textbooks behind me, and I consistently just want to learn and study and grow in this area. And what I need you to understand is that a lot of things that have been taught sales-wise don't make sense psychologically. Don't make sense the way our minds as humans naturally work. And so a lot of the things that you might have been taught can cause you to work 10 times harder than what you would have to, because it's just old school. And these people weren't mean or having ill intent when they started teaching these things. It's because the research that we have right now, the knowledge that we have access to right now about the brain, the human brain, how it makes decisions, it didn't really come about until after all these trainings were out in the marketplace. A lot of the breakthroughs that we had about the brain happened in the early 2000s. And obviously, even when you think about like sales and you think about Wolf of Wall Street, you think about men on the stock market, like this all happened, 60s, 70s, 80s, right? Like way before these discoveries were found. So obviously, it makes a lot of sense as to why a lot of these things are still being taught, because it never was changed. No one ever came, the people in science never ever came to all these different sales organizations and was like, hey, by the way, like all this stuff doesn't work. Like the connection hadn't been made. And so I'm bringing this information, this knowledge to you right now so that you can take a moment and pause and be like, and what I'm being taught, does it feel good? Does it feel good? I just did a reel about this the other day. I did a reaction reel where this guy was on there. And I, first of all, I appreciate people coming on and teaching things that are supposed to help other people, like make more money, get better in sales, like knowledge is power, right? I really appreciate it, especially if it's helped him. But the knowledge that he was teaching, like the tool, the tip was, if somebody gives you a sales objection, you're supposed to say, well, that's exactly why I called you. That's exactly why I'm here. And then you continue to go and explain yourself. So like, for example, oh, I need to talk to my wife. Well, that's exactly why I'm here. And he starts going on. And I was starting to talk about like the neuropsychology of what happens at a prospect's brain whenever you do something like that. It sounds nice. It sounds cool. It's supposed to make you be perceived as like confident, knowing what you're doing. Like, oh, well, that's exactly why I'm here. And you can get in. But the problem is that it causes a lot of resistance in the body and it feels kind of icky, right? Like if somebody says, oh, I'm busy, and you're like, well, that's exactly why I called you, because you are busy. Like it's so forceful and it doesn't seem very genuine. And after a certain period of time, you're going to feel awkward. Why does sales have to be like that? Why does it have to feel like pushy or manipulative, or like you have to say the right thing here? Like you don't want it to feel like that. It's supposed to feel good. So let's change that so that sales can feel good, but also that you can make a lot of money. Number one, prospects make decisions based off emotions and they justify it with logic. You need emotions in a sales call in order for somebody to change. Now, how do I get somebody to change? Pain and the fear of future pain. That's how I get somebody to change. How do I get somebody to change their mind? Pain or the fear of future pain. So it's your prerogative, your responsibility as a salesperson to bring up pain in a sales conversation to get this person to realize that if they do nothing at all today, meaning if they don't buy from you, it would cost them more than if they were to buy. If you're on a call with somebody and they do not buy from you and they stayed the same, it should feel like it would cost them more. How do I get somebody to feel that way? By bringing up pain from the situation that they're in, by bringing up problems from the situation that they're in, and by getting them to realize the future pain that would happen if they chose to stay the same, if they chose not to buy. And so you as a salesperson have to be very skillful in order for somebody to be able to feel this pain without you telling them that there's a bunch of problems that they should feel pain about. Does this make sense? As a mom of a teenager, I'm starting to realize more and more how crafty I have to be about getting her to do something that's going to benefit her. My daughter is 13 years old. And sometimes, I see that she's hurting. I see that, there's some problems that are going on in her world. She's having issues with a boy or something. And I'm trying to give her advice, right? And I'm like, well, this is happening. And I could just tell, she's just like, well, let me figure out my own problems, Mom. And let me do my own thing. And let me figure this out on my own. And it's so hard for me because I love her so much, right? And I want to tell her all the things that could possibly harm her so that she doesn't get hurt. However, remember, behavioral science shows us that it's 5 times more persuasive if we can get somebody to tell themselves as to why they need to take action versus us try to talk them into it. And so I've been having to really hold my tongue, even though I see patterns, even though I see things, and ask her good questions for her to be the one that realizes that the situation that she's in is hurting her, and her be the one to change that and make a new choice. Because staying the same, being in that certain situation is going to cost her more than doing something about it. I have to be willing to ask those questions. And am I asking those questions to her, or am I asking those questions for her because I care about her? Obviously for her. I have to be willing to get uncomfortable. Yes? Now, a sale is not made during the close. It's made during a discovery process. The discovery process, the core is about 85% of your call. I feel like a lot of times sales have been taught, you ask a few basic questions and you share a presentation and then you objection handle. And that's not how the brain is going to make decisions. Like, it's going to be very difficult for the brain to feel pain of the current situation and pain of not changing if you just ask a few surface level questions and you go into your presentation. And most of the calls you talking about your product or service. That makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. If you have questions on here, by the way, as I'm talking, more than welcome to drop them in the chat. More than welcome to ask. I'll get to them as much as I possibly can. So listen to everything I'm saying. I'm saying that you're going to have to get really, really good at making somebody feel pain of the situation. How do I do that? By opening an onion. There's layers here, right? And most salespeople, when they ask questions, you get an answer that is a outer layer of an onion versus a inner layer or the root. Because you ask a question and then you get an answer and you take that answer for surface value and you move on to your next question versus getting curious about their answer. I really believe if you're somebody that has been through any type of scenario where trust has been broken for you, especially if you're a woman, you are very good at picking up on anything that's off, and you're very good at questioning it and trying to understand it. You're going to be naturally good at this. Women as well, your intuition, you're going to pick up if something feels off. And that's because the left and the right hemisphere of your brain is more interconnected than a man's. It's just naturally that way. That's your biology working for you. So you're going to be able to sense if something feels off. So when I'm asking a question and somebody gives me an answer, I want to go underneath the surface. I want to understand what this person means verbatim with what they said. And the way that I get underneath the surface is by asking clarifying questions, by probing a little bit, by really figuring out like what this person is seeing. I want to be able to put myself in my prospect's shoes and see their way of looking at the world without buying into any type of story that would hold them back from purchasing, from getting the outcome that they're looking for, right? Because people are buying things, they're buying outcomes. And the outcome that they're searching for is going to solve the problem that I help them find. Okay. So the second part about this is if you're getting a lot of sales objections, especially I need to think about objection, especially like a spousal objection or like somebody's trying to defer responsibility. And we need to talk to this department, we'll get back to you, something like that. You most likely did not go deep enough in the call. Okay. Secondly, you don't understand how to prevent a sales objection from happening. We need to be able to build a massive gap in your prospect's mind from where they are right now to where they want to be. The bigger the gap, the easier it is for them to buy. How do I make a gap big? The more problems I find, the more reasons this person has to change, the bigger this gap gets. So I have to be really good at asking questions at the very beginning. We call this our current situation questions, and the discovery process, fact-finding questions. I have to be really good at asking questions to find problems that my prospect doesn't realize that are there. And I have to build this gap in their mind. I have to make them realize like, man, like it's worse than what I thought it was. And average salespeople find 1 or 2 problems. Like really great salespeople find 3 to 5. You want to find as many problems as possible to make this gap as big as possible. I also want to figure out what the root of their pain is. You know, one thing I can do is ask like besides questions. So like, let's say somebody tells me, oh, like this is really painful. I felt really frustrating. And I'm asking clarity, like, what do you mean by frustrated? And they're saying, well, this happened, this happened, this happened. I'm like, well, besides that and feeling frustrated, how else are you feeling? I can use the word besides to find another way of looking at this. I want their brain to find as many things as possible in order for them to really feel this in their body. Because remember, in order for them to change, they have to feel pain and the fear of future pain. Once I do that, there's a very simple step-by-step process that we can take you through. I'm going to take you through it on this workshop. R.E.D. R.E.D. stands for Real, Empowering, Disarming Questions. And R.E.D. is a very simple step-by-step process that takes a prospect through a certain type of questioning that gets them to realize that there's a lot of problems, gets them to realize that the future looks so beautiful, that there's pain if they don't change, and presents us a solution in a way that really feels custom to this person and really gets them to want to change and therefore buy this thing so that they can get the outcome that they're looking for. And there's so much science that is weaving into it. And it's one of the most beautiful processes when you learn how to understand it, because it will literally double your closing ratio or triple it or quadruple it, depending on what you're selling at right now. I have reps that are making a 90% close rate. I have reps that are doing 83% close rate, 75% close rate. Like, your close rate should be high, especially if you're talking to somebody who you can help solve their problem. If you're having conversations and you're guessing in there, you're playing a numbers game. And we're not here to be guessing all the time. We're here to master this craft and to get really good at a skill set so that you can make a lot of money so you can do whatever you want. I really truly believe that money is freedom, and you having it is going to put you in a way better position for you to be able to win. Way better position. Okay. And you can be buying bags with that, going on vacations with that, paying for your freaking children's therapy that you put them through in order for them to have trauma, for them to need therapy. I don't know, but you need to be able to do what's required in order for you to take care of yourself and for your family and give yourself the gift of putting yourself in that position. Lastly here, last thing I'm going to say. And then again, if you want to come to this workshop, come at workshop below to get access. If you're a woman in sales and you are feeling tired and exhausted all the time, okay, not only are you probably playing a numbers game and just guessing as you're going through it, there's a really good chance that you are working the same way a man would. What do I mean by that? Men can hustle all day long. You're wired to hunt. You're wired to push, And so a man, I can look at his schedule all day long and he's doing dials. Let's say you're outbound dialer and you need to hit 200 dials today. A man can go like this, go, 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 go all day long. Every time he's tired, they're push harder, push harder, push harder, go, go, go. When a man is stressed out, his body produces adrenaline and testosterone, which is only going to make him push harder and go harder and all the great things. A woman's body's not designed that way. When a woman is stressed out, her body produces cortisol and oxytocin. Oxytocin is a bonding chemical hormone. Is that a hormone? Chemical. I'm going to say something wrong and I apologize. This is when a woman wants a hug. Okay. A woman wants a hug. And when a woman wants a hug and she has cortisol pushing through her body, she needs to stop, not continue to push forward. And so what's happened is that we as women get on Salesforce with men and we push our bodies to a place of exhaustion and we wonder why we're so tired and burnt out all the time. It's because your body's not supposed to do that. Every 3 hours, you need to be taking some type of break. And this break can be for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, something, but you need to be taking time to lower the cortisol levels in your body so you can get back online so that you can show up really powerfully the way that you need to be showing up. And if you're not doing that intentionally, there's a really good reason as to why you're so tired. Nervous system regulation is really important. Also, your hormones are all over the place. Men operate on a 24-hour cycle. Women operate on a 28-day cycle. Every week, your hormones in your body are changing. And if you're comparing yourself to a guy in your team and you're wondering why he keep going all the time and you can't, you're comparing apples to oranges. This is your superpower. So if you understand yourself and understand your body, you're going to be able to operate at a really, really high level. Here's a couple things that you can do. Number one, move your body. create some white space in your calendar, take care of yourself. And conditioning over intensity. This is not about you doing a massive reset once a month in order for you to come back. Like, no, like this is about you conditioning your ability to show up and be consistent. It's kind of like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It's like you taking a little bit of breaks in between your day to make sure your cortisol levels are staying down so that you can show up really, really powerfully and get your job done. You'd be really surprised how much energy you have once you start taking care of yourself. Anyways, I'm excited for this workshop. I'm excited to meet you in Miami if you're coming to Miami for this, or if you're going to be here in Miami, to come by the studio. It's in Wynwood. Again, it's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. EST. Also, it's virtual, so please come virtual. This is supposed to be a virtual live event anyways, and we're just going to invite a few select people to come into the studio with us. So you can comment workshop below to get access. You can also go to any of the links in my bios to get access to this workshop, but definitely want to clear your schedule for that. Definitely want to show up, especially if you're smart. If you're wanting to acquire a better skill set that will change your life, you've got to be at this event. I honor you. I love you. If you're on live on Instagram, you can stay on, answer any questions in a few seconds. For everyone else, I hope that you guys have an amazing freaking day. Honor you, queens. One question. Okay, Samara says, when somebody pushes for early pricing in the DMs and becomes skeptical, what's your approach to handling it in a way that filters out low ticket buyers but keeps qualified ones engaged? Okay, if somebody pushes for early pricing and becomes skeptical, yeah, you're gonna have to send a voice message. Yeah, absolutely. I can go over the pricing for sure. It really just depends on X and Y and Z. And once I have a better understanding of that, we can go over some options. Would that help you? So for example, let's say you were selling like fitness, okay? Somebody's like, how much does this cost? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. We can go over pricing for sure. It really just depends on how often you're wanting to work out, and you know, if you're wanting a meal plan as well, like what you're typically eating right now, what your energy levels are. Once I have a better understanding of that, we can go over some options for you. Would that help you if we did something like that? Anyways, hope that helped. Appreciate you guys. Bye. Okay, here. And then first StreamYard. Okay, bye everyone.